People have said it for years.
Bailey, you have a black cloud hanging over you all the time.
Now, there's a podcast to hear those dumbass stories of misery and triumph. Welcome to Bailey's Black Cloud Podcast.
This would be episode 44.
Faux
Show 44. My name's Jason Bailey here in the beautiful Golden Scissor Studio in beautiful Roswell, Georgia, joined by Nate, who's in Mexico, which we'll see here in a couple days.
Can't wait.
Yeah, got the trip all planned out, ready to rock and roll. And they're still wearing cowboy hat. He's wearing something different today, though, for those that are looking at us on YouTube and whatnot. It's Brandon, and he's got his fluffy Georgia Sherpa sweater on. You know, it's funny because every day he comes over to the house, you know, I know if he's got a meeting, you know, with his, what is it, backwater company? What is it?
Backflow, but we don't really do backflows a whole lot.
Okay. Well, who do you meet with and why?
It's just the people that we work with, this landscaping company to look at sites to.
So his, you know, and now that I have to go out on sales calls, which I got to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of these. I'm very good at it, but I'm not a huge fan. Like I was on one the other night and, you know, I closed a new client, you know, a sponsor for the show, and I have to collect the money, and it's just weird. I don't like that. It makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. But I know when Brandon's going on a sales call, because he has one pair of dress slacks. He's got these khakis. You know, the shirt doesn't change. The dumb fucking hat doesn't change. The shoes definitely don't change. But he puts khakis on, and that's his go-to. That's what he thinks is going to close the deal because he's wearing his no-wrinkle Hagar khakis.
Pants.
Yeah, those are my go-tos as well, because I don't really like to wear like dress like suit pants. But the khakis are kind of in between the jeans and the suit pants, where you're doing a little bit to look nice, but you're not trying too much. I like that.
I went to two sponsors, one that's getting ready to join, one that's just joined, and I was wearing, believe it or not, Under Armour sweatpants, sleeveless shirt, Under Armour hoodie, and a beanie, Under Armour beanie, and my New Balance sneakers for my plantar fasciitis. So I hope I dress to impress, you know. Anyway, thanks for being here for the Black Cloud podcast. This is our OG, our Wednesday version, our episode. You know, thank you to those that subscribe Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for the other shows. You 2%ers, we appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Thanks to all of our sponsors, the ones that have been there from day one, the ones that continue to join the show, and the ones that we're talking to right now that are going to join the show. So this is great. There's going to be a bunch of opportunities sponsorship-wise going down the road, including this new video setup that we have, because when I put together the Golden Scissor Studio, I had all these TVs, you know, that's for commercials and ads and sponsors and logos, and none of them are on right now, but Brandon's my video guy, Nate. He's my videographer. He's in charge of all this. Yeah. And you know what's funny? He's pretty fucking good at it. Like, I had no idea working with him all this time at the radio station, like so much untapped talent with this kid. He's actually smarter than his hat looks.
Yeah, that's why he came here.
Yeah, I mean, he's really
underutilized.
Totally underutilized. You know, I just like, hey, go and do this, or what do you want to do today? And he goes over to the other side of the studio and he's putting together, he's downloading Leopard apps and all kinds of shit. He just leaves it a mess. That's the only thing. I will tell you this before I get into my Black Cloud for this week, that Friday's episode of the BS, the day before we head out to Mexico to see the Nates, all of us, me, my wife, Brandon, Def August, we're all heading to Mexico. We're going to do some shows from down in Mexico. Nate's got this whole itinerary, which we'll talk about on Friday's show, mapped out for us. But on Friday, you know, we always like to have a guest on our Monday and Friday episodes. That's more of like the radio version of the show, I guess, for the radio listener that wants a radio type of show from us. Brandi Britton allegedly will be in studio on Friday's show. So that's very, very exciting. So we will have Brandi Britton in studio for a one-on-one with the girl that is becoming mystery, you know, to all of us.
The exclusive.
The exclusive, yes. Like, what the fuck happened to Brandi? Oh my God, if you guys could just get Brandi on the show. You know, I like it, and I don't mind paying the $5 a month, but it's so much better if Brandi's on the show. Which is fine. You know, I think the same thing. I mean, she made the radio show. She, in my opinion, as far as the conversation part of it, she was the man. She's what brought it all together. You know, she made the conversation great. The conversation was good, but she made it great, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, totally. It's always good to have different perspectives. That's why the show worked, because we had different age ranges with all of us, but then also it was nice to have the female perspective so we could get some idea there. So yeah, it definitely brought everybody together.
It was a good radio show when everybody believed in the show at the same time. You know, and everybody came to work. That was that was our heyday. You know, I mean, that's when we were cashing bonus checks left and right, is when everyone believed in the product, you know, and then one person bails out, and then one person gets fired, and then the other person, you know, is not going to be rehired, and the other person, it just goes to shit. Anyway, my black cloud for this week. So this is the second time that I've injured myself this way while working in my garage. I cannot ever again in my entire life of America, I'm putting a rule on my life and my attempted handyman skills. I cannot work with cabinet hinges. I cannot work with cabinet hinges. Did I ever tell the story about the first time that I got my finger stuck in the hinge? Did you guys ever hear that story?
Yeah.
Okay. I said that on the radio show, right?
It might have been on Black Cloud.
Was it a Black Cloud? Okay.
Maybe.
So, and I forget why. I think I remember. I was trying to replace. You know, they're the self-closing cabinet hinges. You know, and I know this is going to sound really, really weird, but cabinet hinges are kind of tricky. I mean, it's not as simple as you screw it in the door and then you do it. Like there's a bunch of different ones. And then you got to make sure that they're the self-closing if that's what you have. And then, you know, a lot of times these cabinets already have the hole bored out to put the hinge in. So then you got to find the shape that goes in the hole. Some are circle, some are square, some are flat. I mean, it's a process. And sometimes these cabinet companies are proprietary. So you can't just go up to Home Depot or Lowe's and get the same cabinet hinge. They use a special, like the cabinet hinges for our cabinets, I had to special order from the company that actually, I had to hunt them down. I had to track them down. There's like these German hinges that are manufactured in Georgia. And I had to call the manufacturer. I know, it's fucking crazy, right? Because I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's. I brought the cabinet hinge. I was like, oh, this is close enough. And it's like a millimeter off. So it's like a big to do. So that first time, and I forget how long ago this was, I was just trying to replace the hinge. Not a big deal. And I opened up the cabinet hinge and it snapped on my thumb and I couldn't open it back up. And it's continuing to put pressure on my thumb. I thought I was going to die. And I was so embarrassed. And this is all happening like really fast. I'm so embarrassed. My wife's inside. I was like, I can't go and tell her I got a fucking hinge. It's like a mousetrap stuck to my thumb. Like I can't go into my wife. Like I would lose all credibility as a man if I went into my wife and said, honey, I got a cabinet hinge on my thumb. You got to get it off my thumb. I can't get it off my thumb. But I tried everything in my garage with all of my tools to get this fucking cabinet hinge off my thumb. And I couldn't do it. It would not open. And I would pull one way and it would tug back the other way. It was like, it was possessed. And my thumb started turning blue. So now I'm coming to the realization of going, you know what? I'm just going to have to lose a thumb. That's the realization that I came to. Now, this makes sense, right? You can envision, right, Nate, this happening to somebody, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've all done it just with a regular door. You got our finger stuck in it. So these auto closing hinges, I could assume it would be somewhat common to get it caught in.
Right. And Brandon, you're looking at me like I'm an idiot, but you feel a little for me, right? You're like, oh, this can happen to anybody. I can tell you right now, right?
I mean, I know it probably did hurt. I just don't know how you snapped it on your thumb.
I don't either.
Was there a door attached to it still?
No. It was just the hinge. And I think what I was trying to do was I was trying to unscrew something or I was playing around with it, but it snapped when I had it in my hand and my thumb just happened to be there and I couldn't get it off. And it was so fucking tight, dude. I mean, it was like I felt like I was in a Saw movie. You know, it just kept closing and closing and getting tighter. So eventually I had to say to my wife, I gotta handle my thumb. I gotta come out and get my thumb. So she comes out and she tries to take it off my thumb and she can't get it off. So then, because she's smarter than me, and she had 2 hands available, that she takes pliers and takes a screwdriver and then kind of wedges it, and it hurt like really, really bad. So anyway, that was then. The other day, I'm like trying to, I have this fascination. I don't know if that's the word, but I like to use scraps from my garage to build something, to do a project. I like to put something together that doesn't cost me anything. I find so much gratification out of that. That makes sense? Repurposing. Like, I've got, in the corner of my garage, I've got this extra wood that I've just kind of reconfigured. And, I've got all these screws and I got all these tools, and I'll find something to do, a project. And I'm like, I can make that. It doesn't exist, but I can make it. And I've always been very envious of people that make things for a purpose, even though that item doesn't exist. Right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do that the other day, and I needed cabinet hinges to do it. Would you go back to the cabinet hinge after the first time, Nate, or would you just find something else to use?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even do it anymore. I'd probably hire someone at that point.
There's no one to hire for this. This is such a specialty item.
Jeremiah effing Sample, he can do anything.
He can do anything, but he's not going to find the time to come over. Let me tell you what I was making.
Okay.
So my tennis invention, my court caddy, mycourtcaddy.com, running a little late on the orders of the shipments, I should say. So for those that are asking me to buy one, hopefully it'll be here like right before Christmas. It was supposed to be here like today, like now, but it's not. It's running a little late. So it might be a post-Christmas prize, but it will be here sometime in December, hopefully. Knock on wood. Part of the My Court Caddy, for those not familiar with it, it's a plastic, a very well-made plastic piece. ABS plastic is the high-end plastic that I'm using. This company's, it's a mold injection, the whole 9. I've gone through this whole process. It's been very educational and frustrating at times. And then it clips on to a chain link fence, right? It's got 2 things in the back, and it just slides on the fence, and then gravity works itself. It's got 2 places for a tennis ball, and then it's got 2 hooks on the front for your towel or whatever, and then it's got a cord, a paracord, about 10 inches in length that hangs from the middle of it that has a carabiner on it for your water bottle or whatever you want to put on it. And the whole idea is it's never been done before. I'm the first to do this. It's a tennis player or a pickleball player or a baseball player, anybody that wants their own caddy to hold their stuff. It's, as we call it on the website, it's a tennis player's home base, right? Headquarters for all their shit. And people love it. The first batch that I did with my former partner, who was intricate in making this happen, he was doing it off a 3D printer, but we just couldn't produce enough in order to fill what people were wanting. So I decided to go in a different direction and mass produce it and put the money into it. And that was the right move, I think, so far, unless I'm going to have thousands of these My Court Caddies in my garage.
It'll be like that Atari game, the ET game where they bury it out in the Arizona desert.
Yeah, I might have thousands of My Court Caddies in there. So I'm ready to go. The website's been redone. The Shopify is ready to rock and roll. Everything's ready to go except I don't have my product yet. So I was expecting it at the beginning of December. There is some assembly required, and I was trying to. Well, I am. I'm avoiding having the consumer put it together. So my family and I will put them all together. You get the caddy, but you still have to put the paracord and the carabiner on. And there's a hole in the middle of it. And you take the paracord and you put it up there and you just tie it in a knot and then you put the carabiner on. That's all. So my wife says to me, these paracords have to be cut at about 11 inches in length. That's the length that we want. So I was like, God, this is going to take forever. I have this 2 giant spools of paracords. And I even made like a little metal thing that goes on my workbench that you can just, pull the spool like you're at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something. I was like, very proud of that, right? So I'm trying, I've got everything ready to go. I've got the shelves ready. I've got all my equipment. I bought an electric utility knife to make the cutting easier. I've got little flame lighters because you got to, after you cut the paracord, you got to do the lighter thing to make it hard, and everything's ready to go. So she goes, I say, this is going to take forever. We're going to be cutting thousands of these paracords. There's got to be an easier way to do this. She goes, well, there is. I said, well, how do you do that? And she goes, well, you just get a board and you cut it to the length of the board that plywood or something. And then you just wrap the cord around, and then you go through the top, and then you go through the bottom, and you'll have, 50 paracords cut in one scoop. It's like, that's fucking genius. That's brilliant. Way to go, Rach. Nicely done.
Nice.
So I cut this piece of plywood, old plywood that I had. I cut it to length, and we tried it, and it didn't work. You want to guess why it didn't work?
It didn't work as in it didn't cut the right length, or you couldn't cut them?
It was a struggle to cut them.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if it was too thick.
What was too thick? The board?
No, just it being wrapped around the board multiple times, then it would be too thick to cut, maybe with whatever you're cutting with.
Okay, so kind of. There was no room to cut, right?
Oh, it's too tight.
Yeah, and we even put a piece of tape because I was like, well, you got to tape around it. And that was another thing. I was like, oh, now it's getting complicated and you got to put tape. So when you cut the top, they still stay in place, because you got to cut the top and the bottom. But there was no place at the top or the bottom to get this electric utility scissor thing in. So you're struggling, and now they're fraying, and it turned out to, be a disaster. I was like, I'm going to invent something. I'm going to make something that's going to solve this problem. And I said, leave me alone, woman. Leave me out in my garage. Leave me alone. So I got a different piece of wood, a thicker piece of wood, and I'd never used my router before. And my neighbor, Mike, gave me this router for Christmas like last year. Never used it before. So it was like, in my head, I'm thinking, if I route down the middle, and this piece of wood that I'm using now is fairly thick. It's like 1 inch thick. If I route down the middle, there will be kind of like a canal where you can, the rope will go over it, and you could just take the scissors down the middle, right? That's right. Ingenious, correct?
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay. So I get the router out, and I can't figure out how to put the drill bit in. And I'm reading the instructions. I'm watching YouTube videos. This Chinese kid's trying to help me out, and I still can't figure it out. So I go get my neighbor. We can't fit this one piece, and the other piece is not working out. So something's wrong with it. So it's like, I'll bring over my router. And he's got the router, and it's got a little table. And so now I use his router. I get it done. I've got this semi-straight line in the middle, top, bottom. So I'm good to go there. So the next step, now I'm thinking you wrap the cord. What if I do something to hold the string down on the wood? I need something to hold the string down on the wood. So I'm looking through my stuff, and I'm like, well, if I get some hinges and put them on the side, and those like white metal bars that you use to put under the white wire shelving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll get that because that's the only bar type thing that I have available. And I'll put a screw here because it's got that little opening at the end, and it'll just click in and it'll hold the string down. Fucking genius. Wow, this is great. So I do it, and I can't find the right size screw to hold it down. It's not staying down. It would like come off of it. So then I replace the screw with a magnet, and I'm like, a magnet will work. So I try to do the magnet, but it's not working because the hinges are so floppy, and I kind of rigged the hinges. They're not like, obviously nothing's made for this, So I'm drilling holes in and putting screws in and nuts this and screwing nuts and tasting nuts and feeling nuts and all kinds of weird shit. So I'm like, something's missing. What's missing? And I said, I think Rachel came out and she goes, you know what? Why don't you use some self-closing hinges? And I said, oh my God, that's genius. You're so smart. You're so brilliant. If I attach this bar onto the self-closing hinge, right, it'll just snap in place. And I won't need a magnet. I won't need a screw. It'll be perfect. It's like, do I have any self-closing hinges? And so I'm looking around. I can't find any. And she goes, use the hinges that we use for our cabinets. Oh my God, she said that. And I get this deja vu. I'm like, I put them somewhere safe. So it's like an evil thing that I don't have to ever touch them again. I was like, do you remember what happened last time? She goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that. She's like, hey, what are the chances of it happening again? I was like, I don't know, probably not, slim to none. So I find the self-closing hinges. I pull them out. Within fucking seconds, it wasn't the one that I grabbed in my hand, because I put my hand, they're in these plastic little containers in my closet. I pull out the tub, put it on my workbench. With my right hand, my left hand is in the bag. They're in a bag. My right hand, I go in to pull it out, and one snaps on to the same fucking thumb on my left hand as the last hinge did. Snapped onto my thumb, and I screamed bloody murder. This time, Rachel's just on the other side of the door. She knew exactly what happened, and she comes out. She jets out of the house laughing her ass off, and she goes, tell me the hinge got on your thumb again. I'm like, oh my God, it's not funny. It hurts. And then I didn't even try to take it off. She came over and took it off again. I'm not touching fucking hinges ever again. I have a black cloud. Well, I have an overall black cloud of do-it-yourself projects. We can agree on that, yes?
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to have that go the same way as playing guitar. Maybe time to just give that up.
So I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm totally done with this. And so I had to order these new hinges on Amazon. They still haven't gotten here yet, so hopefully it'll work. My invention is not done yet. It is a specialty multi-rope cutting board. That's what we're going to call it. I don't know how much need out there in the world for my invention there will be, but for me, it'll come in extremely handy if it works.
Why don't you just make a book out of two pieces of boards and then just push them together, hold them like this, and cut. Get what I'm saying?
No.
So you got your one board that you're wrapping string around, right?
Yeah.
All right, put hinges on one side, get another board that does the same thing, and then you just fold it like a book.
Do you understand what he's saying? Nate?
Yeah, I think so.
If you got one board here, this is the board you're cutting on, so you'd wrap the string around this instead of having something to snap over here, just have another board, then you got twice as much. Then squeeze it, and that would hold it together. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and then squeeze it together.
Then you just hold it on one side and cut.
Or why didn't you just use a saw instead of the scissors?
Yeah, saw, maybe.
Well, it wasn't the cutting wasn't. Oh, I see, and then just slice down. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, just take the saw and just go across it one time.
I got to tell you, these are all great ideas.
That's why we have these brainstorming sessions.
That's the whole reason why we do this podcast is for great ideas. We really should. Unfortunately, I can't do a black cloud until it happens, and then I learn. But I have a tendency of overthinking these things, and that's my problem. But I like I said, I've always been very envious of people that just make things out of nothing. So I'm trying to do that. And one of these days I'm going to strike gold. I'm going to hit it. And people are going to be like, that's fucking genius, man. How the fuck, like that kind of thing. Yeah. The book idea is good. Yeah. I could have
I like it.
bypassed all of this stuff.
Yeah. Then you wouldn't have to use the self-closing hinges either. You wouldn't have to hurt yourself. You could just use regular hinges.
Yeah. And I have those.
Yeah. That would work.
Just totally regular hinges and just snap it together. And then where do you cut? I still would need to bore out the
top and the bottom.
Yeah, the top and the bottom.
Put a little channel in there.
Yeah, channel. That's the word I was looking for. Channel. Yeah, those are great ideas. You should come over more often.
I'm here like every day.
That's fantastic.
4 days.
I'm here all week.
All right, we'll talk more about our trip, our upcoming trip to Mexico on Friday's BS. I know Nate has got an itinerary for all of us, and we'll run through that. I asked Brandon to have some questions because he is staying at our Airbnb, mine and my wife's Airbnb, which is, I just know, a disaster in the works, in the making. There will be some rules that we'll have to lay down. We'll probably have to do that on Friday. So we'll have that big, long discussion then. Also, the evening with Chevy Chase took place at the Fox Theater here in Atlanta that I was at. Chevy Chase, my comedy icon. That was an amazing evening. So I'll recap that and all the good stuff and a lot of stuff that you won't know about the movie Christmas Vacation and Chevy Chase in general, if you care. But Christmas Vacation, definitely, it's like a go-to, right, for Christmas. I mean,
right.
You know, the top 5 Christmas movies would be Christmas Vacation, Elf, Polar Express,
Home Alone,
Die Hard,
Christmas Story. I would take Die Hard over Home Alone.
Yeah, me too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, Home Alone is way more about Christmas than Die Hard.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
There's a lot of holiday decorations in Die Hard.
How about Four Christmases is better?
That's a good Christmas movie, but it's not really a family movie. Usually the Christmas ones are ones you watch with the whole fam.
What are you talking about? It's about 4 different families.
No, but they're like adults, though.
Yeah, but they got kids. Remember when he goes in, his brother is Tim McGraw, and it was a $10 limit, and he bought him an Xbox, and his dad bought him a flashlight. That's the go-to. Our go-to before Christmas. We'll talk about this more as we get closer to Christmas, and also on Friday's BS, by request from the 2%ers Facebook group, Better with Fuck with the movie Elf, and it's funny. It's really funny. So Better with Fuck with Elf. So Polar Express, Christmas Eve is our family tradition. That makes you get in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
No, nobody's replying.
I don't like that animation style. It just feels weird.
Oh,
Polar
Yeah,
Express.
I don't like it because to me it's a book. It's kind of the more boring version of the book.
Oh my God, it's great. I mean, it's like
not exciting. It's
oh my God, it's so
It's not
exciting.
funny. It's just kind of it's dull. It's really dull.
It's hilarious on the train and the hot cocoa, and hot cocoa, and whatever the song is, cocoa, and the guys are dancing and flipping and stuff. No.
Nah, yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll end
It's
the show
a
on
good movie, but it's not a go-to for me, at least.
It wasn't for me until I got a family, and when I got into this family, 10 years ago, Ariel was 6. And so she was a baby. She was a kid, and she was into all this stuff. She had Disney princess dresses and all that stuff. And so I had to get used to doing these types of things and watching these movies. And they already had a family tradition of a Polar Express. I'd never seen the movie before until I came into their lives. And they were like, yeah, on Christmas Eve, we watch a Polar Express. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. Let's do it. And then I was like, I'm hooked. You get your hot cocoa and your marshmallows, and then the hot cocoa. I got to get that song. You know the song I'm talking about.
You're talking about when they're on the train and the guy's running around.
Yeah, that's the best song ever. They got Aerosmith at the end. Come on.
I do agree, Brandon. The animation is weird. I think it's because it was like early 2000s, but it's like I don't know. It's like The Sims on crack. It's just weird.
My skin feel weird.
The Sims on crack. All right. Please, if you don't subscribe, it's well worth the $4.99 a month. I promise you that. 5 days a week. Excellent content. Better than radio. I'll tell you that. JasonBailey.com to get all of the episodes. Also coming up for our 2%ers in December, the 12 J-Bays of a Bastard's Christmas, where you'll have an opportunity to win the 3-month subscription to the BS and also some of the new shirts that we have, T-shirts that we have, Better Than Radio T-shirts and stickers. So there will be 12 days of winning for our 2%ers. So with that being said, thanks for listening. Bye.